Hi everyone, Miss Emma here from the Farm to School team. Since we can't be in our school gardens planting all together this year, I thought that I would bring the school gardens to you. So today we are going to take a nice tour of the Charles Barnum Garden, and I'm going to plant a couple of things so that we can monitor them together and see what happens to our vegetables as they start to grow. So come along. So right now these beds are still waiting to be planted, but a really awesome 5th grade class happened to build these hoop houses in the fall. So we had some things growing under the hoop house, and you can come and check them out here. Why do you guys think they grew so much better than anything else in our garden? So right here is a little bit of lettuce. So tasty. Now come on over to our other bed that had our hoop house to keep our plants warm on it. In this bed you're also going to find a lot of things that are growing. So we've got arugula that has grown really well. I'm going to try a bite of that too. Spicy. We've got some kale and some Swiss chard that were grown over the winter. Some potatoes that we're going to keep monitoring. And then what's really cool is these are some sunflowers. Now, we had sunflowers planted in this bed last year, but we didn't plant any in it yet this year. So where do you think our sunflower plants are coming from? Now, if we come on over to our herb spiral that any Sprout Scouts might have helped to plant last year, we can see some sage growing back. We can see some oregano over here, and a little bit of lavender growing right here. Smells delicious. Now, Miss Ledger's 1st grade class planted some garlic with Mr. Rose this fall, and we can see that our garlic is growing really well. So as soon as we start to get a seed on our garlic plant, we'll know that it's time to dig up our garlic and see how it's grown. So stay tuned for that. And now, we're gonna come on over to this bed. And I'm really excited because we just put this nice new trellis in today. Now, I wonder why a plant might need a trellis. Well, in our bed right here, we're gonna plant some peas. And the thing about peas is they get really tall, but it's almost like they don't have any legs. They wobble all around in the wind. So peas like things like a trellis so they can wrap their vines and tendrils around them and keep growing up tall. So peas are really cool because they are one of the first plants that we can plant in the springtime. As soon as it gets to be about 40 degrees out, peas are ready to go in the soil. So I'm gonna come on over to this bed and I'm gonna make a nice row where my peas are gonna grow right next to the trellis. And I'm gonna take my handy dandy seed packet. And what's cool is you can find all of the information that you need to know about a plant on the seed packet. So I'm gonna read the back, and just like I thought, it says to plant in early spring. And it says to plant the peas so they're about 2 inches apart. Now, I don't happen to have a ruler with me, but lucky for me, I know a good old farmer's trick. So if I take my knuckle right here, this length is about 1 inch. So I'm gonna plant a pea seed, and then I'm gonna measure 2 of my knuckle widths, and then plant the next pea seed. I'm gonna plant, knuckle, and put the next pea in. Knuckle, and then put the next pea in. So these peas are awesome because by June, they will be ready to eat, and you can even eat the outside pod of these peas. They're super sweet and super crunchy, which is why they're called sugar snap peas, and they're one of my favorite early treats in the garden. Okay, so once I've got my peas all planted in my row, I'm gonna tuck them in gently and give them a little good luck pat. And I know it's gonna rain tomorrow, so I don't need to water my peas today because I'm gonna count on the rain to water them for me. Now next, I'm gonna plant, really quickly, some radishes. And again, I love planting radishes in the early spring because they're a crop that they don't need it to be too warm. They're able to be outside in the cold. And what's awesome about radishes is they are our fastest growing plant. They will be ready to harvest in about 20 days. So we're gonna check back in a couple of weeks, and our radishes are gonna be ready to grow. So once again, I'm going to read my seed packet, and it says to plant radishes only about 1 inch apart. So I know that I can plant them pretty close together, about half the distance that I was planting the peas. So I'm going to take my radish seeds, and I'm just going to put them into a nice row here. And radishes don't want to be in as deep as the peas because they're a little bit of a smaller seed. Okay. And once again, I'm going to cover up my radishes. I'm going to wish them good luck. Now that's all the planting that I'm going to do today, but I want to show you one more thing in our garden. So follow me over to our compost pile. So for those of you that don't have a compost pile at home, composts are the best. I'm kind of a compost nerd. I really love compost. So we're going to come on over here, and our compost is looking a little messy, but it is doing exactly what it needs to do. We can put leaves in compost. We can put old food scraps like banana peels and lettuce, and eventually that all breaks down. You can see if we are to get under there, we've got some nice soil starting to form in our compost pile. But what's really cool is sometimes you get some surprises in your compost pile. So Miss Denise, for those of you that go to Charles Barnum who know Miss Denise, is such a compost queen. She comes out here all the time and puts scraps from the kitchen into the compost pile, and you'll never believe it. Here are some lettuce stalks that she had put into the compost pile, and look at what are starting to sprout. And we had also put some kale and some chard into the compost, and they are all starting to sprout as well. We'll have to keep an eye on them. Nature always finds a way to grow new plants and new life. So keep staying tuned. We're going to do all of the other school gardens so you can get a chance to see your own school garden grow and change over time. Bye everyone.